Right. Blood never got a The product that they're putting in place now, that's the one you're dealing with, so you can show. Correct. I can just call it table. I can drop your thing.
Prime Minister to come through here, please.
You're not going to be able to, I think definitely have to bring that because something's running on.
Senator Dr. Orville Jerome Walcott, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister Bostic, Minister of Health and Wellness, Mr. Didier Buke, the United Nations Resident Coordinator, Dr. Itades Gebre, Head of PAHO, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I should have also mentioned the Chief Medical Officer and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Director of the Drug Service, others from colleagues from PAHO and UNICEF. Good morning all. There will be a few remarks this morning on the occasion of the arrival into Barbados of the second shipment of the COVID vaccines, and I will now ask the order, because we'll just announce the order and then we'll proceed. Dr. Itades Gebre, the PAHO representative, will make some opening remarks, and followed by the Honourable Lieutenant Colonel Honourable Jeffrey Bostic, Minister of Health and Wellness, and finally Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honourable Leah Motley. So, Dr. Itades, can I ask you? I'm sorry? And Nurse Serrano, I do apologize. After Dr. Gebre, we will have Nurse Serrano, who will make some comments on the occasion of the commemoration of International Nurses Day. My apologies, Nurse Serrano. Dr. Gebre, please.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Permanent Secretary, the Honorable Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator Jerome Walcott, Minister of Health, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, RC Resident Coordinator for the UN, Mr. Didier Trebok, ladies and gentlemen, Chief Medical Officer, Permanent Secretary, and then officials from the Ministry of Health, media, good morning to you all. Again, this is a very important day for Barbados and also the Eastern Caribbean countries. As we know, vaccines are reducing severe disease and death in countries that are fortunate to have vaccines and to have them sufficiently in amount and quantity. The shocking global situation still is disparity of vaccines, availability and access. And this, we cannot end the pandemic unless we have equal access to these tools. Vaccine prevent disease, but it can also prevent infection. This is based on our new information we have. It can also reduce transmission. Madam Prime Minister, while cases and deaths are still increasing rapidly in WHO, the Southeast Asia region, globally we are seeing a decline of case and death overall. There have been a decline in most regions, including the Americas, including the Caribbean. More than 5.4 million reported cases has occurred, and then 90,000 deaths just last week. As we speak this morning, globally, 1.4 billion doses of the vaccine has been administered. Through the COVAX facility, 55 million doses have been distributed to 122 countries. Barbados will be the second, receiving today the second wave of deployment, which is 33,600. This is a good start, again, to make sure towards people being vaccinated. Madam Prime Minister, currently what we see in the countries overall is that people in some countries, there is a vaccine hesitancy. There is also vaccine resistance. I could say for Barbados, from my observation, the uptake has been very encouraging. So to have the second dose at this point in time, the second deployment, and then people to access vaccine is timely. I applaud again your government and then the leadership from the Ministry of Health to ensure vaccines are available to all who needs it, and then at the time most they need it to prevent infection, to reduce disease and severe illness. With that, I thank you again for the Ministry of Health continued support. And then in this particular week, as we are celebrating nurses and then International Nurses Day, I congratulate the nurses who are working day and night in this country. I thank you very much.
Honorable Prime Minister, Ms. Mia Montley, Minister of Health and Wellness, Mr. Jeffrey Bostic, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health and Wellness, Ms. Janet Phillips, Chief Medical Officer of Health, all governmental officials, members of the press, residents of Barbados, and visitors, good morning. It is indeed a great privilege for me to be here this morning on such a special occasion. I can, at this time, return to work with a smile on my face when I am approached with the oh so familiar questions, at times even before disembarking my vehicle. Sister, do you have any more first doses? Where can I go to receive my first shot? When will the next batch of vaccines arrive? Also, the constant telephone calls from individuals and organizations as to when will vaccines arrive and when can I receive my first shot. We as Barbadians, we are a very well-educated population. We're all aware of the seriousness of this disease and of the devastating impact that it has on our community and also worldwide. We are aware of the measures we need to take to ensure that we not only protect ourselves, but our community. And this by no means include being vaccinated. I'm constantly reminding people that the government of Barbados have given the procurement of this vaccine top priority. So any day we can expect vaccines. We have several vaccines on order, and our aim is to educate is to vaccinate all eligible persons in our population who are desirous of receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. To date, we have given about 75,000 vaccines, and this is equivalent to about 38% of our eligible population. We as public health nurses, primary health care practitioners, we are working around the clock to ensure that you receive your vaccine. Our aim is to provide a high level of herd immunity. This simply means that a significant proportion of our population, say between 80 to 90%, are vaccinated. And this reduces the transmission rate within this vaccine. Being vaccinated not only prevents you from becoming sick, but if you do, it reduces the severity of your symptoms, and it also significantly reduces your ability to transmit this vaccine to your loved ones, which might be the elderly within your household, your children, and by extension, our population. Our responsibility to you is to vaccinate you. We have been doing it, as I said, around the clock. Your responsibility to us is to adhere to the guidelines and protocols and make sure that you are vaccinated. Also, tomorrow we celebrate International Nurses Day, and this is in recognition to one of our great leaders. The theme this year is nurses leading from out front, also having a vision for healthcare. We are out front in healthcare. We are the backbone of any healthcare system. I would like to congratulate all you nurses up there who are working around the clock during this pandemic. We are leading from up front. We are there in surveillance, conducting active and passive surveillance. We're ensuring that our borders are protected. We're up front in contact tracing, testing, vaccinating. We are there providing all the critical acute care. We are there holding your hands. We have also put ourselves, on the line. So far, almost 3,000 nurses have died as a result of this pandemic. And that is our choice. We are there because we care, and I would like to acknowledge all the invaluable contribution that we nurses have made, and may God give us the strength and the courage and the ability to continue, because we need to return to some degree of normalcy. And we are also encouraging all you healthcare providers out there to take the COVID-19 vaccine. That is one way that we can protect our loved ones and also our clients who dearly depend upon us being there for them. I thank you.
Honorable Prime Minister, ministerial colleague, Excellencies, members of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and PAHO families, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Here we are one more time as we continue in our advance in our fight against COVID and in our quest to vaccinate every single person in this island or on this island, and also our quest to reach herd immunity, which is the first thing that we want to be able to do. So today, we take 33,600 steps further as we receive 33,600 vaccines. I know that the government of Barbados has done everything possible to ensure that we have enough vaccines available for everyone on island. It has not been easy, it has been very challenging. And This is because we do believe that this is now the ultimate measure that we can employ to ensure that we are safe and that we can get back to a state of normalcy. All I want to do at this stage in support of Sister Serrano, and especially as the nurses are observing and celebrating Nurses Week, with tomorrow being Nurses Day. As the Minister of Health and Wellness, I want to salute all of our hardworking, dedicated, committed nurses. Thank you for your service. And I urge you, as they said, tourism is our business. COVID-19, regrettably, is also now our business. Play your part. Do not hesitate. Fascinate. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I think I have a new poet laureate. First of all, let me thank the Pan American Health Organization, and in particular, Dr. Jabre, yourself as the rep here, the United Nations generally, Mr. Trebek, all of the other agencies who are with us. This is a reminder that this world is always strongest when there's partnership. And I want to use this opportunity, therefore, this morning to not only speak to Barbados and Barbadians, but to speak to the global community. I've heard many say that the time for global coordination and partnership has passed in this pandemic, that the horse has already bolted from the stables. I want to say definitively this morning that in our view, that is not the case. And there is never a wrong time to do the right thing. The fact that globally we continue to run this race, trying to fight it up and to beat it against the mutations and variants, tells us that there is still a great need for global coordination and partnership. We know that without this partnership, we're unlikely to win the race in a hurry. Once we don't win the race in a hurry, it means that we are going to be challenged by the mutations and the variants that come about, as we are seeing today with the WHO only yesterday reflecting that the variant in India is a global health risk. This is from a country that has 18% of the global population. If ever there was a need for the world to stand up and recognize that we need a global summit for coordinated action with respect to how we treat to the COVID pandemic, how we treat to the equitable distribution of vaccines, how we treat to the restricted movement of people and countries in a coordinated way to give the global community the best chance of putting this behind us. In the spring meetings that just concluded, the World Bank and the IMF, we were clear that there is going to be no serious global recovery economically until we wrestle COVID-19 to the ground. We cannot wrestle COVID-19 to the ground unless there is vaccine equity and unless there is coordinated actions across countries and not by single countries one by one by one. I therefore use this opportunity this morning, first and foremost, to remind us at the global level that there is nothing stopping us from a global summit other than us. If ever there was a need for political will in the post-1945 world, it is today as we speak. And I trust and pray that there will be movement among those of us who have the responsibility to have the charge of our populations under our control as governments, for us to do the right thing and to do it together. For us locally, we are in a daily battle. We have done well as a nation, but we cannot at any time drop our guard. The reality is that on a daily basis, the Minister of Health and his officials, the Chief Medical Officer and the Permanent Secretary and all of the others working in this sector at the policy level, and then those who are working on the front line of the delivery of care, like our doctors and our nurses, all know that we cannot afford to drop our guard. I ask Barbadians to reflect on the fact that we can only get out of this if we work to reach herd immunity. And for that to happen, it means 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. For those of you who are hesitant or have issues, we are more than prepared to answer your queries and to ramp up the level of public communication. As I said, we have done well with over 75,000 vaccines being administered through our public health system. But we need to do better in order to get to that point where we can be assured that we can have some level of normalcy, as Sister Serrano said, in our system again. The truth is that there are people out there who want, but there are still people out there who doubt. And we have therefore to address these doubts and fears and to remind persons that those who put information out there in a context that doesn't have anything at all to do with our reality are not helping us. Why? There are some who are concerned about the side effects. There are side effects with everything in life. There are risks with everything in life. But the question is the risk worth it? The bottom line is, on today's front page, we have Dr. Ford reminding us that it is our young people now who are being affected more and more. And with the particular strains that have developed, that is what others are seeing across the world. We have therefore a responsibility to ensure that we can control this and that as many people who want to take vaccines should be allowed to take vaccines. And that is why our government continues to contract and to procure additional vaccines. We're at a stage now where we expect, I believe, another major shipment, and hopefully that will get us to where we need to go with our adult population. And now we have then start to focus on those under 18 with respect to vaccinations, which, as you know, is still very much in its embryonic stages globally, with yesterday only another drug company after coming out and indicating that they've had the approvals. Our brothers and sisters in Cuba have also indicated that they're in an advanced stage with a vaccine for adolescents, and we therefore look to see how best we can contract or procure any of these vaccines. But at this stage, it is still too early to give any definitive guidelines or framework. I want to salute as well the nurses. This is Nurses Week. Tomorrow is International Nurses Day. Sister Serrano, I could not have said it better than you said it. And the personal way in which you reflected on how ordinary Barbadians are coming up and asking, where can I get, when can I get, is good news for us. But it does not distract me from the fact that we still have work to do in selling and promoting and understanding what has to be done at the level if everyone is to get out of this. As I drove up here this morning, there's still a few people who are not wearing masks in public spaces. I want to beg you, in simple terms, life is too short, and putting this on your face is too easy for you to risk your life. We have tried to ensure that wherever possible, masks are also easily accessible in this country. Why? Because we are as strong as the weakest link among each of us. And those who feel that the fact that we have been able, Minister Bostic, to be able to reduce our positivity rate predominantly to under 2% for the most part in the last month, and I am thankful to the nation for that. But that does not mean that we are not at risk. And every few days we see a spike reminding us that we are still very much in this battle against COVID. So my friends, I thank you this morning, in particular Dr. Gibre. Please thank Dr. Etienne and also our dear brother Dr. Tedros for continuing to insist that the vulnerable countries globally must be able to access vaccines. And to that extent, even though we are not where we want to be, we are grateful for where you have allowed us to be. And to that, we thank you. CMO, I know this is not easy for you and your team. And I want to ask you to ask them to be of good courage and good cheer. The race is not for the swift, but for those of us who endure. Yesterday, we opened an outpatients clinic in St. Joseph again, and it reminded us of the importance of community health care. That is where this government has chosen to locate its battle. That is where we believe we can achieve wellness. And I ask Barbadians to work with the persons in our healthcare system to make their lives easier. Remembering that the first choice to become well lies not with the community health practitioner, but lies with each of us as an individual in what we eat, how we exercise, how we relate to each other, whether we wear masks, whether we sanitize. What are those things we must do at an individual level so that we are not counted as one who has contracted COVID or as one who has suffered from some form of chronic non-communicable disease that we could have prevented if we made different choices in our lives. So all that is left for me to do is to thank those of you here. Major Clark, over to you and Dr. Ferdinand, and continuing to roll out this country's vaccination program. And I say to you, you know, we have an old saying in Barbados, one blows kill old cow. And the amount of visits that we have made to this airport show that we haven't been able to do it in one fell swoop, but we've been doing it one blow at a time, one blow at a time. And I assure you that we will be here again in pursuit of our goal to ensure that every person in this country who wants a vaccine can be vaccinated and can help us achieve that herd immunity so that Barbados can play its part in fighting this pandemic. I hope that the global community, irrespective of all that I've said, however, will rise to the challenge of that global coordination, because Barbados cannot win this battle on its own, nor any other country in the world. It is only together that we shall win it. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I'd like to thank those who've spoken for their words of guidance and inspiration, for those whose presence here shows their support for Barbados and our cause, our endeavour, and for those who are working behind the scenes to make sure that we continue to be safe. This is the end of the...
Any questions?
Okay, I'm sorry. It's all to close down, but the Prime Minister says that she will take questions. Any questions?
Any of us?
For the Prime Minister, Minister Bostic, Pajo, Dr. Jevres. We had Nurse Serrano, who was excellent. Any questions? Not seeing any. Okay, not seeing any. I would like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, the press, for your presence here today. And this ceremony on the occasion of the arrival of the second shipment of the COVAX, of vaccines from the COVAX facility is over. Thank you.